Listen up, there's not a moment to spare. It's quite a drop from the top, so how you feeling down there? It's a cold, cruel, harsh reality. Caught, stuck here with your enemies. Who do you think you are? Tearing us all apart. Where did you think you could go? 'Cause everyone already knows it's 20 to 1. Yeah, so you better run. You got the world on its knees. You're taking all that you please. You want more, but you get nothing from me. You like the burden we bear. You love the hate that we share. You want more, but you get nothing from me but enemies. Red alert, John, shine a light down. On the front lines of my mind now. Biding my time on the high ground. Blinded but I'm still alive, shout. They said we're lucky to have got this far, and that is not worth fighting for. The words are written on the wall. Come on and fight back. No starting over again. We'll take it right back from the ones we're again. It's time to rise up, even though they left us for dead. This is our last stand. Take a chance now and draw a line in the sand. It's in our hands now. No living with regret. It's time to rise up, even though they left us for dead. This is our last
Guys, let's face it, you can't have a superstar shakeup without a game changer. Hello everybody, welcome to the Game Changer, and this is indeed Week of Wrestling, of course live here on Spreaker.com, and among so many other things that we have been a part of. I am your host, Nate the Effin' Great, and what a week for wrestling it has been, mainly capped off because of the superstar shakeup that happened in WWE. A lot of new faces are going to be joining on Raw. A lot of new faces are going to be heading over to SmackDown. And I'm going to be going through the list of a lot of the superstars that, were switched brands and all the superstars and all the possibilities that could happen with a lot of these change-ups. It's going to be absolutely amazing, absolutely insane. But before we get into that, unfortunately, this past week we also did lose a true legend, a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest WWE champions ever, and that being Bruno Sammartino. He passed away at the age of 82. What I could say right now is thoughts and condolences go out to the family of Bruno, and right now, one of the major positives that came out of this is that he is in a better place. He doesn't have to deal with pain. He doesn't have to deal with suffering. And in all honesty, he's probably creating dream matches on the best stage ever. Bigger than WrestleMania, bigger than the Super Bowl. And he is joined by so many of the other greats that are up there right now. So, again, deepest thoughts and condolences to the Sammartino family. And thoughts and prayers that continue to go out to everybody here who's been affected by him. Bruno will definitely be missed, and he is the man. He really is. He's the only champion to have a reign of over 7 years. I think it's about 10 years, if I'm not mistaken, if we combined his WWE title runs. So it's one of those careers that cannot be matched. So it's kind of hard to go from that sad note to a more positive note, but we are going to try, so bear with me, you guys. So before I go, again, even further from that, I'm going to plug today. ACW Water City WrestleCon is going down tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So many things are happening. Oh my gosh, we have Sadist versus Ryback for the championship. We have Colin Brooks versus Nathan Gust. We have Scott Steiner versus Logan Lynch. Appearances by Jeff Jarrett, the Hurricane Sandman. So many great things going on. So go out there, guys. Enjoy. It's going to be an absolutely amazing show. It's at the Menominee Nation Center in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, guys. Tickets are going to be available at the door. So do not miss your chance to see this. It is going to be a packed arena. It is going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be a show that you cannot miss. If you want to hear more of the details about it, go check them out on their site, acwwisconsin.com. Go check them out on Facebook, or even listen into the podcast that I had last week where I gave my predictions on who was going to go over tonight, because today, you guys, there is a lot to discuss. I'll be going into predictions for Impact Wrestling, or as I like to call it, TNA Redemption, that will be taking place this Sunday. Also, we will actually, I think it might be the next Sunday. Either way. Also from there, we'll talk again about the Superstar Shakeup and a lot of things that are going to be happening in the month of May as far as the Game Changer is concerned. Alright, so let's go right into it. Let's talk about the Superstar Shakeup. It started on Raw, it ended on SmackDown. A lot of careers have definitely been altered. They have been changed. They have indeed been just shaken up. So let's just go right through the list, you guys, and then I'll talk a little bit about Raw as well as SmackDown as to what went down. We saw it open up with Kurt Angle talking about the Superstar Shakeup, and the first acquisition for Raw was the United States Champion Jinder Mahal and Sunil Singh. I do believe that the other Singh brother will probably be joining him too, more than likely. Honestly, I would love to see the Singh brothers compete on 205 Live. That would actually be really cool. So I'm hoping that's what goes down, but we'll wait and see. But this is going to be one of those things where it's going to be very interesting to see what happens, and I think the Grace Rumble is going to set the precedent for what we can expect as far as the future of Raw and SmackDown goes. But I'll get into that when I talk about predictions later on. Raw also acquired Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan from the Riott Squad. They hired Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens on Monday Night Raw. So much for the idea of having them on the independent scene, for them, just to sell more on the fact that, they don't have jobs, they don't have anything going on, so it happened. Also during this broadcast, The Miz was sent to SmackDown, and that actually caused a lot of stir and a lot of just positive reaction from a lot of people, because they hear Miz is going to SmackDown. It's like, ooh, as long as Daniel Bryan doesn't come to Raw, we might get what we always wanted. Zack Ryder came to Raw. Breezango came to Raw. They defeated The Bar in what was seemingly going to be their last night. We had Natalya, Mojo Rawley, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre made his main roster return in a big way, and I'll talk about that in just a bit. Baron Corbin, Mike Kanellis, who was one of those stars I was very happy to hear, is changed over to Monday Night Raw. The Ascension, Bobby Roode, and Chad Gable. All of those people are going to be going to Monday Night Raw. And honestly, it's a pretty interesting group of people because they're different faces. You never really see anybody, familiar. A lot of people were probably expecting maybe, AJ Styles or Randy Orton or somebody different. But no, this was actually like a fresh group of people. This was actually like fresh talent. So this is kind of unique. And this is kind of one of those things where I'm like, oh, this is going to be kind of cool. I am interested in seeing what they do with Raw. SmackDown acquired Jeff Hardy. They also got Absolution, Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville. Samoa Joe, who shocked everybody with his appearance. Sanity, Eric Young, Alexander Wolf, and Killian Dane from NXT. They'll be going their way to SmackDown. Big Cass will be making his return on SmackDown. Asuka is going to SmackDown. The Club, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, they're going to SmackDown. The Bar, Cesaro and Sheamus are going to SmackDown. R-Truth, and finally, probably one of the biggest acquisitions for SmackDown, Andrade Cien Almas, along with Zelina Vega. This is just wow. This honestly is one of the most insane superstar shakeups that I could have ever expected, and a lot of people are probably surprised by that. Now, you look at SmackDown sides; they're definitely getting a lot more star power, which is really cool to see. Obviously Bobby Roode was kind of a little bit stuck in limbo. Same could be said about Dolph Ziggler, Baron Corbin, Mike Kanellis. Chad Gable was in the same deal. They got Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley brought in there. Natalia, she's actually going to be involved with in a bit of a program going into Raw. There was a lot of very interesting things that happened here, and it definitely seemed like, you know, SmackDown got a little more of the star power, and Raw got the fresh talent. So this is going to be a very interesting shakeup to see what happens over the next year. How some of these stars will, you know, either take opportunities, grab that brass ring, take the ball and roll with it, or are they just going to fall flat on their faces? We're going to find that out very soon. And a lot of people are probably curious, and I want to know you guys' opinion. Do you prefer the draft or do you prefer the superstar shakeup? I actually remember this the draft, and the first one I saw was in 2005, and that was the big one in which they had John Cena coming to Raw with the WWE Championship. Then it ended with Batista going to SmackDown with the World Heavyweight Championship. It was one of those things that it definitely was quite a shock, in all honesty, and I was honestly very happy to see that. To see, you know, this bit of a shakeup here. And then as years have gone by, they did a little deal where it was Raw versus SmackDown, and if the brand, you know, if the superstar won, they won a draft pick for their brand, which was okay, but it did take away from the special, you know, feelings of having, you know, brand splits. So, in all honesty, I like the fact that they are doing unpredictability with the superstar shakeup. I think I do prefer the shakeup more than the draft, because then you kind of have a guess of like, oh, well, who's going to be coming over? And you'll be honestly surprised at who shows up, or you'll be thinking like, oh, wow, they acquired this person. I wonder why that is. But, yeah, it's just one of those things that is absolutely amazing. And I love what they're doing with the superstar shakeup. I especially love that they are really trying their hardest to really make it something special, because a lot of people were expecting, you know, Samoa Joe to be on the Raw brand for quite a while. A lot of people were expecting, you know, Bobby Roode to go after the United States Championship again. But now with all of this stuff that has changed, that's going to definitely change the landscape, especially when it comes to the Intercontinental and the U.S. title belt. And that starts, of course, with the U.S. title, because in that night we saw Jinder Mahal defend his U.S. title against Jeff Hardy. And Jeff Hardy won the matchup, becoming a Grand Slam champion. Honest to God, if they make 2018 the year of Grand Slam champions, that would be just make this year very memorable and make it very special. I mean, they already had that with Randy Orton winning the U.S. title. They did that with Jeff Hardy now. Years prior, they did that with Chris Jericho, where he became a Grand Slam champion. Well, actually, he might have already been a Grand Slam champion, but in the modern era, now he's the Grand Slam champion. They had that with Roman Reigns, and they did that with Seth Rollins and with Dean Ambrose. It's one of those things where they are really creating the Grand Slam and making it something very special, because it's an elite group of stars that really do deserve it, in all honesty. I don't think that I could look at the roster of, you know, WWE Grand Slam champions and say, no, this person didn't deserve it, or no, this person didn't deserve it. Even a guy like Big Show, he's a Grand Slam champion, and he deserved it. Everything that he did. It was absolutely amazing to see him win that. I think he achieved that when he won the IC title at WrestleMania, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. Yeah, Jeff Hardy became the United States champion, and I thought, honestly to myself, wow, they're keeping 2 championships on Raw, which means that, of course, Seth Rollins is probably going to go over to SmackDown. Boy, was I wrong, because Jeff Hardy would show up on SmackDown. So it's like, well, they're keeping the U.S. title on SmackDown? Well, again, that could change, especially with the greatest Rumble, and maybe even at Backlash. And I'll explain that more when I get into the predictions. Everything that happened with the Superstar Shakeup was just... I'm really having a hard time just pinpointing the right words to describe it. I mean, you look at everybody who actually came in here. This was a bit of a surprise here. Like I said, Breezango, they defeated the Bar in an upset matchup. Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre ended up teaming up and taking out Titus Worldwide. And honestly, I would have hated the idea of having Drew and Dolph as a team until I saw their tag team maneuver. I never thought that one of the coolest tag team finishers could be the Claymore zigzag move that Drew and Dolph did. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, because of that, I kind of want to see these guys team up. I mean, can you also imagine, Dolph doing a super kick and then Drew hits the Future Shock DDT? There is so much possibilities now, and I know a lot of people are just going to be saying, well, Drew shouldn't be a tag team competitor. He should be a singles competitor. He should be going for the IC title. Oh, he should be going for the Universal title. Give him time. He's still just getting his foot back into the door on the main roster. Eventually, I do believe that he's going to become a great Intercontinental Champion, and honestly, I think he'd be a great competitor for the Universal Champion once it gets taken off of Brock Lesnar, but again, we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Baron Corbin coming to Raw was a bit of a shock to me, but also Vince McMahon has definitely, once again, said that, hey, I'm becoming a Baron Corbin fan. And I'm hoping that it means that he gets put back into maybe an Intercontinental title picture, or again, even the Universal title picture. If he gets put into the Money in the Bank ladder match again this year, I'd be totally okay with that. Bobby Roode again. He was involved in the main event it was a 10-man tag team matchup. It was Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas and The Miz taking on the team of, oh man, I'm trying to remember who it was again. I believe it was, damn it, who was it again? Oh, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Braun Strowman, I know Bobby Roode was one of them, but now I'm trying to remember who was the other guy that joined up with them. Oh gosh, I'm blanking out right now. I'm like, why am I not able to think of the person's name? Why am I not able to think about it? It was on the tip of my tongue. I don't remember now. But it was a great, 10-man tag, and I think Bobby Roode definitely is going to be on the right path again. And honestly, he may even be one of those competitors I could see, being a great Intercontinental Champion, following the likes of Rick Rude, which a lot of people definitely can compare Bobby Roode to. And could he be another Universal title contender? I say yes, but that's also because I'm very impartial to Bobby Roode, because he's absolutely amazing. So, yeah, eat it. And I'm hoping that he wins Money in the Bank this year. Would I be happy if it was Rusev? Well, maybe. I mean, it would make sense for all the crap that he was going through. And again, we'll talk about that a little bit later when we talk about Greatest Rumble. But yeah, it's just going to be absolutely amazing to see what Raw does. SmackDown, again, also, they get Jeff Hardy, which, splits, of course, the Hardy Boys into them. And I think that, honestly, they could still do the skits for the Woken Matt deal and still have Brother Nero appear every now and then. And some people would be like, oh, wait, but he's supposed to be on SmackDown. It's like, well, Brother Nero's a completely different entity than Jeff Hardy. I think that they could pull that off, in all honesty. Absolution getting drafted to SmackDown, I was not too surprised by, because they did the whole Riot Squad coming to Raw. And also, it's going to be very interesting, because with Paige being the GM of SmackDown, is she going to go impartialness to Absolution? I highly doubt it, but I think that she's definitely going to start motivating them to be better and to be great wrestlers on the SmackDown roster. But, yeah, it's just going to be absolutely insane, what happens as time goes on between the two. I enjoy Mandy Rose, and I think Sonya Deville is slowly getting there, but she's not quite there yet. Samoa Joe, again, was a big shock, and having him come out and then basically saying, yeah, I'm on SmackDown, but I'm going to beat the crap out of Roman Reigns, and just trashing Roman. It's one of those things where it's like, this matchup is going to be absolutely amazing. Definitely can't miss. Sanity was a big surprise for me. I was not expecting them to get called up to SmackDown. I thought that they would have gotten called up to Raw and had that whole deal with Bray Wyatt, but I think that with this whole situation with Sanity being on SmackDown and Bray being on Raw, now that just blows it out of proportion, and Sanity's just going to be there just to dominate. Big Cass, we knew he was going to be making a comeback, but him making a comeback at the expense of Daniel Bryan was honestly one of the best ways to come back, and he's a big-time heel, so this is going to be really good. Asuka coming to SmackDown, I think a lot of people saw that coming. Gallows and Anderson, along with the Bar, they come to SmackDown. They're adding very big-time star power to their tag team division on SmackDown. Honest to God, I believe that they're going to definitely break up the Bar very soon. But please, let me at least see the Bar versus the Bludgeon Brothers once. It would be cool to see them have the rematch against the Usos. Have a great matchup with, who is it again? New Day. But main goal for me would be to have the tag team champions, the Bludgeon Brothers versus the Bar. That matchup would be insane. And I would love it. R-Truth coming to SmackDown was, I don't know. I think that was kind of like a meh pick for SmackDown. No offense, but R-Truth hasn't done that much as of late. But again, the biggest acquisition was indeed Andrade Cien Almas. He's done a great job on NXT, and now that he's going to be coming to SmackDown with Zelina Vega, the sky's the limit for him. He's definitely going to be one of those guys that's going to go after the U.S. Championship and become a huge upper mid-carder. Do I see him as the main eventer? I don't know if I could see that yet. But I think that he would definitely put on a really good matchup between with him and AJ. I think that would be absolutely great to see. But we'll just have to wait and see. So Superstar Shakeup is going to be absolutely insane. I think that SmackDown definitely got a lot of star power, but Raw has a lot more to work with when they come to the younger talent. And I'm hoping also that this is for me, this is me personally, I'm hoping that Mike Bennett gets another chance. I really like him. I really like the fact that he is, again, one of those people that got drafted to Raw. And I think that he could actually do something really cool. What that could be, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe he's going to get repackaged. And I think it could be interesting, having him repackaged, and maybe Maria comes back and starts kind of like calming him down, bringing him back to planet Earth, and then, maybe he just goes into a full-fledged heel mode. I don't know. There's a lot that they could do with Mike, but we'll have to wait and see. So, with that being said, we have predictions to go through. So, the first set of predictions I'll go through will be for Impact Wrestling's Redemption, which is, in fact, tomorrow. I thought that it was actually going to be on, what was it again? I thought it was going to be the following week, but nope, it is going to be tomorrow. It's going to be on pay-per-view live in Orlando, Florida. And, of course, a lot of people first heard that the main event was going to be Alberto El Patron versus Austin Aries, but because Patron is a piece of crap, he got replaced by Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix. That is going to be absolutely amazing. This is one of the first few events that they're taking people from Impact Wrestling, Lucha Libre AAA Worldwide, and Lucha Underground. This will be an absolutely insane card, I guarantee it. So going through the match lineup, let's just get right into it. So first matchup on the card, we have Taya Valkyrie taking on Kiera Hogan. I think that after the matchup that Taya had with Rosemary last week, I think that she's going to get the victory here. I would love to see Kiera Hogan win. I think she's definitely very talented, but I think I'm going to go with Taya on this one. We have Aerostar taking on Drago. Now, of course, this would be one of those matches that everybody would love to see in Lucha Underground because the sky's the limit when they go crazy. But as far as, Impact Wrestling goes, I think it's going to be a good showcase. I'm not going to lie. I think it's going to be pretty good. So, my prediction for this one, I'm going to go with Drago for this one. I think that they will start really building Drago as a threat, I guess you could say, to Impact Wrestling. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do. We go on to a 6-way matchup. We see Taishi Ishimori versus Desmond Xavier versus El Hijo del Fantasma, I should say, versus Brian Cage versus DJZ. Holy cow, I have not heard that name in quite a while. Actually, I think the last time I heard that name was when Broken Hardy was talking to monkeys. God, that was an awesome moment. Versus Trevor Lee. It's going to the machine. It's going to Cage. I can tell that right now. I would like it if they gave it to a younger guy. I think Trevor Lee is one of the most underappreciated talents there. He was a great X Division competitor, and he could honestly be a great contender for the world title, especially with it being Austin Aries. I think Trevor Lee and Austin Aries could put on a really good matchup for the global title. But, yeah, with this kind of a matchup, it's going to be Brian Cage. I'm sorry, but it just is. We have a matchup for the Impact Knockouts Championship. Ali defending against Su Yung. So, this is a bit of an interesting story. Basically, Braxton Sutter, the former boyfriend of Ali, came back, and he, after proposing to Laurel Van Ness, oh my gosh, this was a cringeworthy deal. He basically said, like, oh, Ali was bad, and Ali was the worst thing that ever happened, but you were actually really good, so I want you to marry me. And then Laurel Van Ness just kicked him out and said, yeah, hell no. Then Braxton tried to reunite with Ali, and Ali's just like, yeah, no. And that's when Braxton Sutter brought in Su Yung. So this is basically what Japanese zombie creation is. She is an absolutely insane woman, and I think she's going to be a very big time competition for Ali. I'm going to go with Ali for this one, but I think she wins via DQ. I think Su Yung is going to... I think it might play out like Awesome Kong and Gail Kim, where Ali is just barely going to survive. She may get an advantage, but maybe Braxton Sutter gets involved, and then Su Yung gets disqualified, and they just beat her down. And eventually, you know, it's one of those things where they just find a way to make this rivalry last for a little while longer, because they really haven't done too much of anything for the Knockouts division other than having Ali take on a couple other people. But I am interested to see where the storyline goes, so see what happens. We have a House of Hardcore matchup, which pits Ohio versus Everything, Dave Chris, Jake Chris, and Sami Callihan, also known as Jeremiah Crane. It was awesome when they had Impact versus Lucha Underground, and Jeremiah Crane came back, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. They'll be taking on the team of Eddie Edwards, Moose, and Tommy Dreamer. This is going to be a very intense six-man tag match. Moose has just been getting better and better as time goes on. Tommy Dreamer just hasn't looked like he's missed a beat since, you know, really taking it easy with his career. The rivalry between Eddie Edwards and Sami Callihan has really been very vocal. It's been very talked about, and mainly goes back to the day that Sami Callihan accidentally hit Eddie Edwards in the eye with a bat, and everybody's seen pictures. I've seen pictures, and I almost threw up because it was so brutal. People have been very vocal about Sami Callihan being dangerous, being a menace to professional wrestling, that he should definitely be like fired and taken out. But it's created for a very good storyline between Sami Callihan and Eddie Edwards. So this is going to be one of those matches where they're going to take it to a whole new level. As far as who I think is going to win, oh man, I think I'm going to go with the team of Eddie Edwards, Moose, and Tommy Dreamer. I just don't see them. I just don't see them losing at this point. So, yeah, I'm going with the Team Babyface. We have the tag team matchup for the Impact World Tag Team Championships, and this is actually an opportunity created by Eli Drake's Feast or Fired briefcase, which he has a guaranteed tag team title matchup. So he's using it here at Redemption. LAX will be defending against Eli Drake and Scott Steiner. Now, this is one of those things that would be actually kind of funny. And Logan Lynch, if you're listening to this, I am not wishing for you to hurt Scott Steiner, but I honestly think it would be super hilarious if Scott Steiner had to cancel his show to TNA Redemption. Basically, like one of the headliners is like, Scott Steiner was taken out by a random wrestler from Wisconsin, and he basically just, and they just make Logan Lynch almost seem like, oh, he's the worst guy ever, but at the same time, it's like he's kind of the hero, because I think people like Scott Steiner more for his random talking than his wrestling. I could be 100% wrong, but it would be one of those crazy things to have Logan Lynch make headlines for hurting Scott Steiner, because this is happening today. Scott Steiner versus Logan Lynch, and then tomorrow Steiner has his tag team match. Can you just imagine Scott Steiner, getting hurt today? You know what? I'm not even going to say Logan Lynch hurts him. I think it's just going to be one of those things where Scott Steiner would hurt himself by his own accord. So let's be fair. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here. So, as far as who I think is going to win, I think it's going to be Latin American Exchange. I think LAX is just, they've been really white hot fire what they are doing, and I just don't see Eli Drake and Scott Steiner, I don't see them winning. It's just one of those things where I think they just didn't know what to do with LAX, so they just decided, well, let's just have Eli Drake have his tag team opportunity, and then let's just have him team up with just somebody random. Oh, what about Scott Steiner? Okay. I think that's just how it is. So LAX for the win. We have the Impact X Division Championship, which is caused by the P.D. Williams Feast or Fired case. So Matt Sydal will take on P.D. Williams. Oh, man, I really want to see P.D. Williams as X Division champion again. But I kind of like what they're doing with Matt Sydal. Him having this guru in Josh Matthews, even though I hate Josh Matthews to a T. I really just would love to see P.D. Williams just, hit the Canadian Destroyer on Josh Matthews and even do it again to Matt Sydal and win. But I think Matt Sydal is going to retain. I honestly do. It just seems that obvious. Then we have the triple threat matchup for the Impact World Championship. Austin Aries, the man who's basically holding every single championship he can get his hands on, taking on Pentagon Jr. and, Ray Phoenix. Okay, then. I thought it was actually just Phoenix, but nope, it's Ray Phoenix. Okay. So, with this being said, and since I really don't have any competition for TNA Redemption, I'm just gonna say this. I'm just gonna have them put the belt on. I would love to have them do it on Pentagon Jr., but I'm gonna go with a wild card pick and say Phoenix. I think that it would be one of those things where people would be shocked to see Phoenix pick up the victory. I would be just as fine with with Pentagon Jr. picking up the belt as well, but I have a good feeling about Phoenix. I think the betting odds are probably going to be Austin Aries, Phoenix, and then Pentagon Jr. That's just my opinion, but I'm going with Phoenix on this one. But I also do see Eli Drake trying to cash in or successfully cash in his other briefcase and just getting that all over with. Yeah, so that's TNA Impact's Redemption card. Be sure to check it out on pay-per-view. And for those of you that are going to go see it live and in studio, I hope it is better, my apologies, than what a lot of people are anticipating. So, with that being said, we move on to WWE's event, The Greatest Royal Rumble. It's going to be an absolutely insane show, and a lot of what's going on with this is that there are a lot of implications that could decide which brand gets the U.S. title and which brand gets the IC title. I think that's just how I see it, but it is going to be taking place on Friday. It's going to be taking place on Friday, April 7th at the King Abdullah Sports Center. Sports City's, it's a longer name than I thought it was. The King Abdullah Sports City's King Abdullah International Stadium in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. So, yeah, oh my gosh. So, for a lot of people, the event is scheduled for 7 p.m. local time, apparently, but it will air live in the United States it's going to be 7 o'clock their time, but it'll be airing live here at 11 a.m. I think it's going to be Eastern time, if I'm not mistaken. It's going to be very interesting. It's mainly, main roster men's championships will be defended in addition to a 50-man Royal Rumble matchup. Does the winner get anything for that? Well, they get a nice little trophy. Oh, so something not as special like the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal trophy or the Miss WrestleMania trophy. I'm still calling it that, even though they're calling it whatever the hell it is. But it just makes more sense to call it Miss WrestleMania. Anyway, yeah, I'm hoping that there's more to it than that. But I doubt it. So let's just get right into the card. They changed this matchup at least 3 times, and they finally got an official deal here. So it is a casket matchup between The Undertaker and Rusev. This is one of those matches that I think is going to make Rusev a big-time main event level player. Do I think he's going to win? Sadly, no. It's going to go to The Undertaker. Undertaker just got off a really good matchup with John Cena at WrestleMania. The only way that I could see them having Undertaker lose is if John Cena gets involved, but I do not see that happening. So, Undertaker wins, Rusev loses, Rusev Day, yay. Next matchup we have is Triple H versus John Cena. SoCalVal's going to love this, but I'm going with Triple H. I think that it's going to make more sense to have John Cena lose more now than ever, and I think it'd be more to a case where he says to Undertaker maybe next year, because honestly, I think they are going to do WrestleMania 35 rematch between Undertaker and John Cena. Have John Cena have the worst year of his career, where he's losing every single matchup to young guys. Maybe once in a while he picks up a victory, but more times than not he's losing. He's basically going on a Dolph Ziggler streak, is what I'm saying. It makes more sense. That's just my opinion. And then when they build up to the Undertaker John Cena deal, then maybe have Cena start winning more. But until then, Cena lose. Triple H wins. So, next matchup is the singles match for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship. Mr. Cedric Alexander defending against an opponent that will be announced on this week's 205 Live Gauntlet matchup. It originally was supposed to be Cedric Alexander versus Buddy Murphy, but this was one of the funniest things I think I've ever seen, was they had a official 205 weigh-in. So basically, if you were over 205, you didn't make the cut of 205 Live. Guess what Buddy Murphy's weight was? 207. 2 pounds, and Buddy Murphy was just saying, like, oh, I could lose that extra weight, in like an hour. And Drake Maverick's just like, yep, nope, not happening. You're done. You're done, son. You're done. It still was one of the funniest moments I think I've ever seen, where they literally just said, oh, you're not 205? Yeah, you didn't make the cut. It's like, ouch, but still funny. So there will be a gauntlet matchup to determine who will face Cedric Alexander at the Greatest Rumble. So the question is, who is going to fill in that spot? I would love to see them do a rematch between Alexander and Mustafa Ali, in all honesty. Cedric will win no matter who wins, but I think that having Mustafa Ali win and then have him face off against Cedric Alexander again, that would be good. That would be cool. And then they can resume the whole storyline between Cedric Alexander and Buddy Murphy. That's what I think is going to probably end up happening. Next, we have the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, the Bludgeon Brothers versus the Usos. Not even going to go into this one too much. Going Bludgeon Brothers. Yeah. We have the tournament finals for the vacant Raw Tag Team titles as Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy take on Cesaro and Sheamus. If they would have made this shake-up deal after this, after the Rumble, then I could see this being less predictable, but I think it's very obvious. They're going with Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. I don't see any reason why they would put the belts on Sheamus and Cesaro when they're on SmackDown. It wouldn't make too much sense to me. So, okay, now we go on to one of the things I was talking about. The singles matchup for the United States Championship. Jeff Hardy defends against Jinder Mahal. Okay, so Jeff Hardy's on SmackDown with the U.S. title. Jinder Mahal is on Raw. And obviously there's another matchup on there that could have these weird implications as well. So if Jinder wins, the U.S. title will go to Raw, but if Jeff Hardy wins the U.S. title, would stay on SmackDown. I think it's going to be Jeff Hardy. I want to say that they probably had the U.S. title change happen just to maybe make a great moment for Jinder Mahal to win it back at Saudi Arabia. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think Jeff Hardy's going to win. Next matchup here is AJ Styles defending the WWE Championship against Shinsuke Nakamura. Oh my God, Shinsuke has been absolutely hilarious, but also genius with his heel run and his whole deal where he just basically saying like, "Sorry, I don't speak English," and he actually is having a debate with WWE management. He wants there to be a T-shirt where it just basically says that, where it basically just says, "I don't speak English." I literally thought to myself, they went through a whole racist deal last year with Jinder Mahal and Shinsuke Nakamura, and now they're going down this part where Shinsuke Nakamura is basically making fun of. I don't know if he's making fun of himself or if he's making fun of. He's making fun of more of himself. I'm just going to take a safe bet at this. And I love that they're doing this whole deal where he wants a T-shirt where it basically says, "No speak English." It's like, are you just taking a jab at yourself every chance you get? This is genius. This is awesome. This is literally the Shinsuke Nakamura that we wanted for so long. As far as who I think is going to win here, oh gosh, I'm going to go with Styles. I don't think that they're going to have him drop the belt to Nakamura just yet. I think they're just starting to get Nakamura on that slope of actually starting to win. I think they're actually having him, the whole thing with him being a heel is actually working out pretty well. So I think that it's going to be very interesting to see what they do. And I think that he's still got a little more mileage to him. So we have a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. We have Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor versus Samoa Joe versus The Miz. But also there is a rumor that's going on that they've included Bobby Lashley in this. Maybe just to make things more interesting. All honesty, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with them adding Bobby Lashley to the matchup. But I'm also going to take a chance on this. I'm going to go with The Miz winning the title at the Greatest Rumble. Just for the sole fact that they can actually screw everybody up and just think, well, what's going on here? What? Now the IC title's on SmackDown along with the US title. Are they just going to have that deal? Well, it's accomplishing two things. One, it makes things more interesting in the WWE. And two, it'll give Miz his 9th reign as Intercontinental Champion, tying Chris Jericho. That's just something I think would be absolutely amazing. I think that he is that superstar that deserves that kind of accolade. He's worked hard for it. Give The Miz the title belt only until Backlash, and then have him drop it to Seth Rollins. And I think in a multi-man matchup like that, it would make more sense than just to have a one-on-one deal. So I say give the belt to Miz, have him hold on to it for a couple weeks, and then Backlash comes around, Seth Rollins wins it back. And then it goes back to Raw. That's just my opinion. Alright, so the next matchup is a steel cage match for the WWE Universal Championship. Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. Here's what I'm hoping happens. Roman wins, but he has some help from the Authors of Pain. In all honesty, they could call themselves the Roman Empire. Roman can definitely, go on this heel deal where, Authors of Pain help him out. And honestly, what would be kind of cool is if they did this whole triple team deal where Authors of Pain, they have that move, the last chapter, I believe it's called. Have them do that, but Roman Reigns also adds a spear in there. That trifecta move would just be absolutely amazing. I think it could be just as cool as the triple power bomb that the Shield used to do. So, I'm hoping that Roman wins the title on this day because Brock doesn't need it anymore. And I want to see a heel Roman Reigns. Maybe he comes out and he just says, I relied on the fans too much. Oh, excuse me. I relied on the fans too much. So I am going to now, rely on somebody else. I'm going to rely on my own empire. And this builds up to, Roman being the Universal Champion, the Authors of Pain winning the Raw Tag Team titles later on down the road, and just really creating something absolutely amazing. So, again, Roman for the win. Didn't happen at WrestleMania, but I think it's going to happen here. Then we go on to the final matchup, which is the greatest Royal Rumble, the 50-man Royal Rumble. So far announced for this matchup, we have Daniel Bryan, Big Show, Braun Strowman, Kurt Angle, Apollo Crews, Titus O'Neil, Elias, Goldust, Mojo Rawley, Dolph Ziggler, Baron Corbin, Chad Gable, Big E, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, Shelton Benjamin, Sin Cara, Chris Jericho. That's it so far. But they will probably talk more and have a full list of who's going to be in the matchup either this upcoming week or before the Rumble happens on Friday. So let's hope that happens. As far as who I think is going to win, I'm taking a risk. I'm going Rusev. I think Rusev wins the matchup, makes it officially Rusev Day, wins the 50-man Rumble. And honestly, I would love to see him win it at number 50, because that way it just gives him time to, prep, time to heal from the casket matchup with him and Undertaker. I just think it would be really, really cool to see that. Even though a lot of people are saying, well, he's in a casket. I don't think that should really count. No, he can get out of the casket. He can just wake up and be like, oh, man, I'm going to get in the Rumble matchup. Maybe he just attacks somebody. Like, Like back in the day where they had those people that just attacked random people and they just took their spot. Like Kurt Angle did that to Nunzio. That was funny, but it was also genius at the same time. So Rusev at number 50 wins the Rumble. I think that's going to happen, and I'm hoping that happens because that would be the best way to cap off Rusev Day. Yeah, okay, I'm done. All right, so from there, that's mainly all I have to talk about for this week in wrestling. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to be going on in May. We have, like I mentioned before, Avengers Infinity War comes out next week. So there's going to be a lot of people that are probably more focused on that than on the Greatest Rumble. Because, let's face it, this was probably the worst day that they could have had that coming out. But, a lot of people are probably going to be like, oh, maybe I'll watch Infinity War throughout the day and then watch, the Greatest Rumble at night. Yeah, I don't think so. I think people are going to be watching that thing over and over and over again. But we'll have Infinity War, we'll have Deadpool 2, as well as Solo, a Star Wars story. I will definitely be doing reviews on that. I already made the announcement on yesterday's podcast that I will have a minor announcement, but still a good announcement nonetheless, on Monday, April 30th. And it's something that will definitely be a major game changer, and it will also be for a good cause. Also will be the Star Wars rewrites, where I will be rewriting the Star Wars prequels. It's a little bit tougher than I thought it was going to be, but I think I can manage, so be sure to tune in for that. I'll even try to do maybe one or two, actually probably just one, WWE, Impact Wrestling, WCW, some kind of rebooking, just to make things a little bit interesting. Yeah, and also I think during this month we also have Backlash, so there's the matchup that's going on there between myself, Chad Knight, and Mr. Evan. It's going to be a very very interesting month. It's going to be a very busy month of May, and then we go into June, which we'll talk about NXT TakeOver Chicago as well as Money in the Bank. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's going on, so definitely tune in, stay up to date on my Twitter as well as on our Facebook fan page. Be sure to just give us a like. Let us know what you guys want to see in the comment section. Give us a post. Let us know what you guys would love to see from our channel. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I have been Nate the Effing Great. This has been The Game Changer. Thank you so much for listening in. Me rambling, talking a bit about this week in wrestling. It has definitely been a game changer for WWE. Impact Wrestling has their game changer on Sunday. And ACW is going to be a game changer today. Their matches are going to be absolutely amazing. So go check them out. Go watch them. Support them. They are absolutely amazing. A lot of great matches happening. It's going to be absolutely insane. So I'm done talking now. I'm going to get this stuff ready for, more edited. And then I'm going to go take a long nap. So with that being said, I've been Nate the Effing Great. This has been The Game Changer. Thank you so much for listening in. And we will talk to you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye. Adios. And...